I'm so glad you found your way here. Hello and welcome. You are probably lying in your bed now and about to go to sleep. But before you do, what could possibly be better than for me to tell you a story? My name is Kia, and I think I want to tell you the story about the red balloon. But first, I want you to get comfortable, to lie down really nicely and as best as you can. You can close your eyes and take a few deep and slow breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. Let your body relax and let it become heavy. Let all thoughts float away and let yourself go along with the story I'm about to tell you. Now then, shall we begin? Once upon a time, there was a boy named Liam and a girl named Lily. They were brother and sister, and they lived in a large and beautiful house next to a large green forest. The children loved being outside so that they could play, jump and run around, and they would take every opportunity to be outside. They also liked being outside when it rained, because then they could jump into puddles and build small boats made from tree bark and let them sail away into a ditch. Both children were very resourceful and had a lot of imagination. They had no difficulty coming up with things to do. One of their favorite pastimes was watching ants on their way to the big anthill that was at the edge of the forest. The children could sit for hours watching the little ants work together to improve the mound and get food for all the other ants that lived there. In the summer, they loved watching the birds fly back and forth with food for their newly hatched chicks. And they could sit for ages and imagine what it must be like to be able to fly high up in the sky, just like the birds did. What freedom and what adventures they would experience if they were able to fly. On a warm and sunny day, when the children were playing in the meadow behind their house, they suddenly caught sight of a balloon floating past them. The balloon was red and had a long string tied to it. The children ran after the red balloon. They laughed and jumped loudly as they tried to get hold of the string. Liam finally managed to get hold of the string, and he felt himself about to be lifted off the ground. He shouted to Lily for her to quickly grab his hand. Lily did as Liam said, and as they both clung onto the string of the red balloon, they were both pulled up into the sky. Soon they were high up in the air, flying over the meadow, and the forest beneath them became smaller and smaller. The children were so content and happy, and they couldn't stop laughing out loud due to the tingling sensation of excitement that went through their bodies. The balloon floated up higher and higher and further up into the sky. The children were so amazed by the experience that they completely forgot to be afraid. Soon the red balloon had floated away so far that Liam and Lily no longer recognized where they were. They flew over mountains and water, over forests and meadows. Many different kinds of birds joined the children during their flight, including swallows, gulls, eagles, and sparrows. They flew over deserts and cities. They saw lakes, savannas, jungles, pyramids, high-rise buildings, castles, and small cottages in the forest. Far down on the ground, They could see many different types of people. Some nomads rode on camels in the desert. Merchants were selling in the city squares. Farmers were on their fields. And lumberjacks worked in the forests. They could see children playing on the ground, and everyone waved and pointed up towards the children and the red balloon. The children flew day and night, which meant they were able to travel around the earth very quickly. In the end, they had flown for so long that they would feel themselves getting tired. Just as they each gave a big yawn, they suddenly began to recognize where they were. There was the road that led to their big, beautiful house. And down there below was the meadow where it all had begun. The balloon softly dropped to the ground again, and the children landed safely and securely in the meadow, behind the house where it had all begun. It felt like they had been gone for a whole eternity, although it had only been a couple of hours. The balloon had traveled so fast and so high that they had flown a full lap around the earth. With big smiles on their faces, the children looked at each other and started walking back home. Liam was still holding the balloon in his hand, and he tied it tightly to the stairs outside the door of their house. They intended to keep the balloon so they could fly away again on other adventures and thus explore more of the world together. But now the children were tired. They ate their supper, and when their parents asked what they had done during the day, the children cautiously replied that they had just been playing with a red balloon they had found in the meadow. The children was so tired that they could barely stay awake and eat their food. So after dinner, they immediately got up and brushed their teeth and went to bed. Together in the room that they shared, they made plans to fly around the earth so that they could have even more adventures. They closed their eyes and yawned widely, taking deep and slow breaths. They breathed in and they breathed out. When the Sandman came and sprinkled his sleeping powder over them, they were already sound asleep, calm and safe, both with smiles on their faces. They dreamed of new adventures together and how they flew high and far with the red balloon. In the land of dreams, everything was possible. It was the summer holidays, and they had the whole summer ahead of them to experience many other exciting things and have other adventures together with the red balloon. But now, I also think it's time for you to go to sleep. Maybe you will also dream about flying away on an adventure with a red balloon. Let yourself be swept away into the world of dreams, where everything is possible. Close your eyes and breathe in and out. Sweet dreams.